Turning now to the escalating situation in the Middle East. Fears are mounting that Iran might launch a retaliatory strike on Israel after an attack on its consulate in Damascus, Syria, earlier this month. And President Biden is reiterating the U.S., quote, ironclad support for Israel as tensions rise.
We also want to address the Iranian threat to launch a significant, they're threatening to launch a significant attack on Israel. As I told Prime Minister Netanyahu, our commitment to Israel's security against these threats from Iran and its proxies is ironclad. Let me say it again, ironclad. We're going to do all we can to protect Israel's security.
Israel's foreign minister is warning his country would strike Iran directly should the Islamic Republic attack Israel from its territory. Now, Iran holds Israel responsible for the attack on the consulate, which killed 12 people. Israel has not acknowledged its involvement. Meanwhile, 3 sons and 4 grandchildren of a senior Hamas leader were killed in an Israeli airstrike. That's according to the militant group. Israel says that the sons were Hamas operatives, but had no information about the grandchildren. Our Deborah Pana has more from Tel Aviv.
Now that Ramadan is over, Palestinians in Gaza are marking the end of the month of fasting with the Eid al-Fitr holiday. But this is overshadowed by fears that Israel's expected military offensive in Rafah is drawing closer. On the ground, Palestinians had to pray amidst the rubble and ruin, and for some, it was a day of heartbreak, spent mourning the loss of loved ones. And for Hamas chief Ismail Haniyeh, the conflict has become personal. His 3 adult sons and 4 grandchildren were killed in a targeted Israeli airstrike yesterday. As the humanitarian crisis worsens, the wider the rift grows between the U.S. and Israel, a red line for the Biden administration, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's plan to invade Rafah, where more than half of Gaza's 2.3 million Palestinians are sheltering, despite the U.S. warning this would be a mistake. But no matter how deep that rift, when it comes to threats of a strike by Iran in retaliation for last week's bombing of the Iranian consulate in Damascus, President Biden has said the U.S. commitment to Israel's security remains ironclad. Also ironclad is America's determination to help bring hostages held in Gaza back home, but that may have hit a stumbling block after an Israeli official told CBS News that Hamas cannot track down 40 hostages who can be exchanged as part of a temporary ceasefire agreement. Anne-Marie?
All right, Deborah, thank you. So joining us now with more on this is CBS News contributor Robert Berger. Robert, good morning. It's good to see you. Let's talk about sort of the latest information. First off, what the president mentioned yesterday, what he described, I think, as a possible imminent threat from Iran, retaliatory strike on Israel, in Israel. What can you tell us about this?
Well, Israel is certainly on edge because there's been repeated threats from Iran that it's going to retaliate for that attack on the consulate, including, we've heard this from the Ayatollah himself, the senior leader in Iran. So there's concern, especially now coming also from the Pentagon. We're hearing that this attack could happen as early as this week. So the military is on high alert. The question is, how would Iran retaliate? And there are several options. One is to use its proxies, and like Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen, and militias in Iraq. We've seen some of that already. Or they could perhaps strike at Israeli diplomatic missions abroad, or they could send drones and ballistic missiles from Iran itself targeting Israel. Now, if that happens, then we're really talking about a huge, major escalation, the danger of a major regional war, and the U.S. could also get drawn into that.
Right. In the meantime, there's supposed to be these ongoing negotiations for a ceasefire, hostage return. And now we're hearing about this Israeli strike that has killed the 3 sons and several grandchildren of a Hamas political leader. He lives in Qatar. What sort of impact could that have on these negotiations?
Yeah, there's 2 schools of thought on that. The Israeli government, anyway, believes that further military pressure on Hamas will prompted to make concessions at the negotiating table. The other school of thought is that this is only going to make matters worse. Hamas has really been it's been holding to its positions, and it has been unwilling to make a deal so far. And now the feeling is that this could prompt Hamas to even harden its positions further. In any event, the hostage talks have been at an impasse for weeks, and right now there's no sign of a breakthrough.
Wow. Okay, Robert Berger, thank you so much.
Thank you.